I am Liz Heiman, and this is the Rural Nevada Pitch Competition Entrepreneur Education. Today, we're going to talk about deconstructing customer discovery research. So here we go. Welcome. Before we start, I want to make sure that everybody is clear about what we're doing here. So the Rural Nevada Pitch Competition objective is to increase awareness and access to local entrepreneurs and students interested in starting their own businesses. We want to support your efforts. And the focus is education for new and young businesses. And the secondary goal is to create more connection between rural areas and the resources available in metro areas. If you want to join the competition, you just need to understand the rules. And the rules are this. In order to be qualified, you must be a resident of any rural Nevada county. So that excludes Reno and Las Vegas metro areas. But any other place in Nevada, you would qualify as a participant. And you would need to be an owner of a business in a rural area or want to start a business in a rural area. The complete rules are available at www.launchruralnevada.com. So go there for more details. So the participants must be Nevada residents and must apply by the application deadline, October 14th, 2022. So don't miss the date. And if you know anybody else who'd like to get involved, please let them know. Share this information with them. So there's a couple of things that will help you stay on track as we're doing this. There are live and recorded Zoom sessions that are designed to help you prepare for the competition. So we would love for you to go there and participate. There's a calendar, and it again is at launchruralnevada.com. And if you would like to receive notifications of what's coming up and what's going on, you would just send an email to ruralnevadapitchday@gmail.com. Okay, so the live pitch is November 4th, 2022. It is in person at the Elko campus of GBCC. And there are other locations that are also listed on the website. Again, you've got the website launchruralnevada.com. And tickets are available for the live event for either in-person or virtual attendance on the website. So go there, invite your friends, and get everybody there to support you when you're pitching for the competition. So you've got all the support that you need. All right, so last time we talked, we gave you some homework, and your homework was to do some customer discovery research. The starting place was create a concept statement. And once you've created a concept statement, then you are going to interview 25 people. And then once you did those 25 interviews, you were going to create a buying intention survey that you could deliver and get some answers. So these were the things that you needed to do. And once you do them, we can just do the next stage of the homework. So the idea is you have an idea. Now what? Now what do I do? And we want to continue to walk you through that process to the end. So far, let's go back again. You had an idea. You asked potential customers about their problem. You asked potential customers about whether your solution would work for them or not. You summarized the results to find the potential customer population size. You summarized results to find potential price, and you created a value proposition for the product or service. If you have found a group that's interested in the product, and you're clear, then you want to find out who are your customers and how do we reach them? And then you need to decide whether or not you can make money. This is what makes it a business as opposed to a hobby, that we actually make money. So as you go through the customer research that you've done, chances are once you do the analysis of the customer feedback, you're going to do some refining of your product offering. And your initial definition of your target customer market may also change, and your product and service costs and gross margins will be important as you're going through this. And you're going to really want to understand the expenses of running your business. Often business owners don't map it all out, and they end up in a lot of debt, or the business fails because they just can't pay the bills. So your homework is going to be to develop this cost analysis. Okay, so let's start with who's your customer. We talk about what we call an ideal customer profile, and you may hear some people talk about it as an ICP, But I like to say it out loud so we remember there are lots of people that in our target group, but within that target, we can narrow it down further and come up with what our actual ideal customer is. And I think at some point we're going to talk about TAM, SAM, and SOM. I'm just going to leave those with you, but because we're going to talk about them, that's a total operating market and is the breakdown beyond that. But for the moment, we're going to talk about if you could pick the person who would most love your product and be happiest with it and most likely to buy it and most likely to spend the money that you want them to spend on it, that would be your ideal customer. And we want to profile them. We want to create the criteria. So the first thing we talk about is demographics. And those are things that you can measure, like how old are they? What gender are they? How much education have they had? And if it's a business, you can talk about what size is it? You can talk about how many employees they have, how much revenue they make. Those are things that are measurable. We call those demographics. And you might have heard that word before. The next thing is geographics. And I know you've heard that before. That's where they are. So are you addressing the whole world, the whole country, the whole continent, or maybe just your little town or your little portion of the town? Where is your market? And defining that's really important, because if we get in a geographic area that's too big, then we may not be able to serve it. And if it's too small, it may not be sufficient to support the company. The third thing is what we call psychographics. And these are things that are not measurable. They have to do with things like values and beliefs and interests. So do I value things that are really high tech? Do I value things that are economically sound or environmentally sound? Do I have beliefs like gender inclusivity or something else that might impact my decision in this? So psychographics are those things that are not measurable, but will impact whether or not a person likes your product or relates to your product or is a good fit for your product. And once we get all that information, we want to create something we call a persona or an archetype. And a persona, I'm going to show you that in just a minute. A persona talks a little bit about who is this person, what is important to them, how old are they, how much disposable income do they have, it's all those kinds of things. And an archetype is just another word for that. Now, when we're talking about a persona or an archetype, when we're talking about a business to consumer purchase, it's going to be really different than a business to business purchase. Because when we have a business to business purchase, we're selling to kinds of people who have different titles. So a CEO might have different things that they are measured against that they think are important and ways that they make decisions, but might be different than a technician who's actually using your product or service. So the way we build that persona and archetype is a little different between a consumer purchase and a business purchase. So here's an example. Let's say you have a coffee shop and this is one of your personas that comes into your coffee shop. This is Sarah. She's a student. And this is a typical day in Sarah's life. And here's her background. She's 20 years old and single, lives in San Francisco. That's the geography part. Maybe we have some finances. Maybe she has a household income of $30,000. But that includes all of her school and books and all of that kind of stuff too. Where is she online? Is she on Facebook or is she on TikTok or somewhere else? And where might she be looking up information? Where does she go to get information? Does she go to Groupon to get discounts or, how does she do it? And what is she looking for? What influences her? What brands does she like? These are the kinds of things that we're looking at. Whoops, I've gotten too far. Sorry. When we're talking about the individual person that we're selling to, these are the people we want to come into our coffee shop, if that's what we're building, and who will come and buy from us. But then when we think about this a little bit bigger, we go, wait a minute, aside from the people that just come into my coffee shop, there might be some businesses that would like to purchase coffee for their employees to have at the office. Or maybe it's a restaurant that wants to serve our coffee instead of their coffee because they want it to just be made and ready to go. So that would be a business customer who really purchases your product to use in their business. The next is a partner. And in this case, it would be a catering partner. So if I'm a caterer and I'm doing a big event, maybe I don't want to deal with the coffee. I just want to buy coffee and put it in my beautiful carafes so people can have them. So then that is a partner to me. They're kind of a client, but really they're what we call a distribution partner. They are selling our product. with their other products. It's part of their inclusion. You could also have a partner that actually goes out and sells your product independently of a larger product. They might just sell your coffee. So there are three different kinds of relationships: the individual customer, a business customer, and a partner. Once we think about that, once we really understand who is it that's buying from us, we can start to make decisions about how are we going to sell this? How are we going to develop a price? How are we going to figure out whether this is feasible or not? The first thing we want to think about is determining our preliminary price. When we're setting up our sales price, we have two considerations. One is, what will the prospective customer be willing to pay for my product or service? And notice it's going to be different for somebody who resells our product than for somebody who just buys our product. You're going to have different pricing. But if somebody's going to buy from me, how much is that person, that archetype that I created, or that persona that I created, how much are they likely to be able to pay for our product, and how much might they be willing to pay for the product? And then the second thing is, how much is it going to cost me to create my product so that I can deliver it? If the cost of delivery is more than people will pay, then you don't have a business. So you have to have a product that you can produce for less than the cost of what people are willing to pay. So your cost is lower than the price that you set. So let's think about how to do that. So we're going to talk about something we call a COG, a cost of good. Sometimes we make them, COGS. In this case, we're going to talk about cost of goods sold. So how does that work? Well, the way we figure that out is we want to figure out what is the cost of one thing. And the word here that you see is widget, which is a fun word that economists use when they are setting up scenarios. But a widget can be anything from a product, it could be a screw, or it could be a telephone, or it could be anything that you want to sell, a coffee mug. That would be your widget. It could also be a service if you wanted it to be. So what we're going to try and figure out is, what is the cost of one single unit of your product, which we're going to call a widget. In this case, what we're going to say is that widget that we're selling, the cost of the materials are $40. So that is whatever physical things are required to put it together. So if it's coffee mug, I might need ceramic, I might need a finish, I might need different color paints. So what are the costs of the things that are going to turn into the product, the physical things? And the next is the labor. So somebody has to actually put it together or run the machine. However it happens, there's a certain amount of labor associated with delivering this product. And then the third thing is shipping. How much does it cost to get the product to me, or the parts to me that I'm going to turn into a product? And how much is it going to cost me to ship it out to either the individual or to the store that's going to sell it, or however that shipping is going to happen, however we're going to deliver it. So in this case, we're saying the materials are $40, the labor is $60, 2 hours at $30 an hour, and shipping is $5. So we're going to say, in this case, our total cost of one widget or one unit is $105. That's what it costs us to create it. So now we want to talk about other expenses that are going to impact the price. So there are going to be things like rent and insurance and overhead and marketing. There are other things like that. So those are all other expenses. And we're going to figure out what those are. We're going to take that number and we're going to divide it by the number of widgets that you can make per month. So this is a monthly set of expenses divided by the number of monthly widgets that you can sell. That is the next thing that we're going to do. And it's going to look like this. Our COGS are going to be $105. And the expenses that we just added up and calculated and divided by the number of units is good. We're going to say that's $33. Now, what we want to do is add the 105 to the 33 and we get 138. And if we want to make a 35% profit, then we would multiply 138 times 0.35 and we would come up with $186.30. And then if we want to make it easier, we would round it up to 200. So the minimum we could charge would be $186.30 if we want a 35% profit. Some typical expenses of running a business is payroll, and that's employee taxes and benefits and what you actually pay them. Outside services, like they might be accountants or marketing agencies. Then there's other actual marketing costs, including printing and collateral, electronic ads, trade shows. All of those are costs. The cost of sales would be things like having a base salary for a salesperson plus commission and possibly a bonus. Any other office expenses, including rent and utilities, any supplies for doing the office work or for doing the, running the office, legal and insurance costs, payment on business loans, if you borrowed anything, and taxes. So then what we would do is we say, okay, this is my revenue is my sales sold, and this is my cost of good, and that will get me what we call a gross profit. That's the top, what we call the top of the line. And then we say, okay, let's take out all of my expenses, and we call that the total net operating expenses. And what's remaining after all of those things are paid is the net profit. And here's what it might look like in a forecast, in a spreadsheet. So you would have, what are you selling? What are the costs? And then you would have your margin, and then you'd have all the other expenses. You add those up and you get your net. That's how we figure out, this is what we call a pro forma. This is how we figure out. And if you notice, month 1 and month 2, every month we're selling a little bit more, because in the beginning, it always takes some time to build up. And this company, the way it's designed, the way we did this, they're actually losing money the first year, which is not uncommon. Okay, here's your homework. 1, define your ideal customer. 2, define your customer segments. 3, define your target market. 4, define and quantify the cost of making and delivering your product. Determine the minimum price you must charge to be profitable, which is what we just did in those equations. Create a 1-year pro forma. I think you can download that document, and join us for office hours if you have any questions. Thanks for participating in the Launch Rural Nevada Pitch Day project. We're so excited to have you with us. Good luck and have fun. And here's some ways that you can reach us. You can reach us at ruralnevadapitchday@gmail.com. That will tell you when the next office hours are. And if you want to get copies of the slides, links to any tools, answers to questions, you can email us there and we will send them to you. Have a great day, and we can't wait to hear about your project.